I love cruising and I love Christmas, but when I booked an MSC cruise that included Christmas Day on the ship, I had no idea what to expect. Christmas is a big deal, and the decision to spend it on a ship definitely was a risk because you can't just redo Christmas if it all goes wrong. MSC are an Italian cruise line and I'm from the UK, so I did expect Christmas to be different. I didn't expect it to be as different as it was though. The Christmas dinner was unlike anything that I'd ever have at home, and the Christmas entertainment definitely was different from what I'm used to. I didn't know if it would be strange being away from home over Christmas, being away from my family, and I didn't know if it would still feel like Christmas being somewhere hot. We booked the MSC cruise because it was relatively cheap. We wanted to try an MSC Christmas cruise, and it was on board a brand new cruise ship, the MSC Meravglia. I say cheap, it was relatively cheap considering that it was over Christmas. Usually Christmas cruises cost more just because they are so popular. We flew to Genoa in Italy to embark the ship, and we embarked on Christmas Eve. I have to say I was both amazed and disappointed when we embarked. I was absolutely amazed by this central street that runs through the middle of the MSC Meravglia. I was amazed by the pool deck, the ropes course, the general design of the ship I loved, but I did feel a bit disappointed with the lack of Christmas decorations. When you think about Christmas cruising, you probably think about big Christmas trees in the atrium, all of the stairs being lined with Christmas decorations, and it just wasn't really like that. There were some Christmas decorations around and there were these big angels in the atrium, but it definitely wasn't as Christmassy as I had expected. I've been on other cruise ships that have been decorated for Christmas, and this was kind of the level of Christmas decorations that I was expecting. The lack of Christmas decorations didn't impact our cruise at all though, it just surprised me that it wasn't more Christmassy. If you do want to get that Christmassy vibe on a cruise but you don't want to pay the premium Christmas cruise price, cruising earlier in the month can be a brilliant way to get that. Most of the cruise ships will be decorated by early December, some will start decorating in November, and it's just really nice to be on a ship when it's decorated like this. True, you won't get the Christmas dinner, you won't get the Christmas entertainment, but it still is nice and you can go home for Christmas. One thing that did make the ship feel more Christmassy was that all of the crew, all of the waiters, they all had Christmas hats and they wore those pretty much for the entire week. I hope that they weren't too annoying for the crew. I think it's important to remember that you're having your Christmas on a cruise and so are the crew. They may be working 12 plus hours a day, they've got their family left at home. I do think cruise lines are way too tolerant on people being rude to the staff. If I was in charge, there would be a zero tolerance approach. As my mum has always told me, good manners cost nothing. MSC are a little different from most other cruise lines because guests can pretty much embark and disembark in any port. It isn't a cruise where there is a clear start and end, and that means that when we got on board on Christmas Day, some people have been there for a few days already, some people were embarking with us, some people have been there a week, some people may have even been there longer. We were very much thrown straight into Christmas by embarking the cruise on Christmas Eve. On the daily schedule were loads of Christmas activities. There were Christmas carols, we had a Christmas theatre show in the evening. It was Christmas, Christmas, Christmas as soon as we got on board, which is what we wanted. I have cruised with MSC before and since this cruise, and I have to say their theatre entertainment isn't some of my favourites. I still go almost every night when I'm on an MSC cruise though. It's included in the cruise fare. The shows are usually relatively short and I do find them entertaining. They're just not my favourite. That said, I was very interested to see what MSC would do for a Christmas show. On Christmas Eve, the show was called Let It Snow, and it definitely put us into that Christmas mood. It was Christmas dances, Christmas songs, some people dressed up as elves, somebody dressed up as a snowman. It was very Christmassy. I did wonder though, if it's Christmas Eve and I'm on a cruise ship, how is Santa gonna find me to give me my Christmas presents? Luckily, on Christmas Eve, Santa was there in the main promenade taking photos with the children. On a lot of cruise lines, Santa will be there and he will give out gifts. I don't remember if there were any gifts on this cruise. Sadly, I think I'm a bit too old for Santa to give me a gift. Your Britishism of the week is what we call Santa here in England. It does feel strange for me to say Santa because when I was growing up it was always Father Christmas. Lots of people do call Father Christmas Santa, especially younger people, but there was a big poll done in 2017 that said that the majority of people from England still say Father Christmas over Santa. He's always Father Christmas to me. Father Christmas was here way before Santa, but he kind of merged with the Americanized Santa when Santa came on the scene. Here on Christmas Eve, we would normally get our pajamas on, watch a Christmas movie, have some snacks. I would leave out a mince pie for Father Christmas and a carrot for the reindeer. In the US, I think you guys tend to leave cookies instead of mince pies, and I would much prefer a cookie than a mince pie. But here in the UK, a mince pie is a very, very popular snack. They're made of fruit, not meat mince, they're made of fruit, but I don't like mince pies. We went to sleep very content and happy, but we were thinking about the next day. What would Christmas be like without our extended family? Would Christmas be Christmas without all of the presents? And what would be our Christmas dinner? I had no idea. In the UK, our traditional Christmas dinner is usually some sort of roasted meat, roast potatoes, sprouts, gravy, that kind of thing. I didn't expect the Italian Christmas dinner to be like that though, and because on an MSC cruise there are so many people from so many different countries, there were probably a lot of different people expecting a lot of different things from this Christmas dinner. Our cruise was sailing around the Mediterranean and we were visiting ports in Italy, Malta, Spain and France. I did have some concerns about whether things would still be open given that it was Christmas. We actually had a port day on Christmas Day. We were docked in Civitavecchia, the port of Rome. We made the decision not to go into Rome. It's quite a long way. We've been there before. I wasn't sure if things would be open and we really just wanted to enjoy Christmas on the ship. We did get off and have a wander around in the port of Civitavecchia. Surprisingly, most of the shops, most of the cafes were open on Christmas Day. I suppose it makes sense if a mega cruise ship like the MSC Meravglia is docking in port, it makes sense to open everything. The MSC Meravglia holds 4,400 passengers, so I guess it's business as usual, even on Christmas Day. We decided not really to do Christmas presents because our Christmas present was being on a cruise at Christmas. We made sure that each person had just one thing to open. I got some Elf Christmas pajamas, which was absolutely amazing because Elf is the best Christmas movie and I will not hear anything else. Elf is the best Christmas movie. If you are cruising over Christmas and you're going to be buying someone a present, if you can make it something that is useful to them on the cruise, if it can be clothes, if it can be pajamas, that just means that you're not wasting space in your suitcase. For this cruise, it was a 7-night cruise. I took my small carry-on cabin-sized suitcase. Usually I try and take the smallest suitcase I have when I'm flying just because it's much easier. So I didn't have all that much space to spare in my suitcase. After walking around Civitavecchia, we headed back to the ship. There were Christmas activities happening on board, but it wasn't overly Christmassy. There were usual things like dance classes, quizzes, exercise classes happening just as normal on the cruise. Even though our MSC cruise had guests from Germany, Spain, France, Russia, Poland, you name it, absolutely everywhere, most of the music and most of the entertainment was in English. It may also be in another 8 languages, but everything is in English. English does tend to be the primary language on MSC cruises. I was still wondering what we would be having for dinner though. I didn't know if MSC would surprise me and bring out a giant Yorkshire pudding or if it would be pasta. I honestly had no idea. MSC do have some dress codes, but they're very relaxed and they're not enforced at all. I recently asked you guys if you thought that MSC's dress codes were relaxed and 96% of you said yes, so I think that's pretty conclusive. The relaxed dress codes are one of my favourite things about MSC cruises. I don't mind dressing up, but I don't really like being told that I have to. I have made a decision about my next Christmas, which was influenced a lot by this Christmas. I'm cruising this year with the British cruise line P&O Cruises, and P&O Cruises are known for having quite traditional dress codes. They're definitely enforced, and I think that we may have a formal night on Christmas Day, maybe, so that could be interesting. The main Christmas dinner on this cruise did include quite a lot of seafood, which makes sense for an Italian cruise line. From memory, it was pretty good. Again, pretty small portions, but that suited me fine. No complaints about it. Everything was well cooked. Everything was hot. It was fine. No turkey or roast potatoes or sprouts or gravy or anything like that though, but I didn't expect there to be. I am going to have the chance to experience the traditional British Christmas on my Christmas cruise this year. I have cruised with P&O before. I have tested the roast potatoes, I've tested the Yorkshire puddings, and I can confirm they're absolutely amazing, so I'm looking forward to that. I am a bit nervous about the strict dress codes, and we are passing through the notorious Bay of Biscay, but whatever happens, it will be an adventure. I recently cruised with P&O on their biggest, newest, most exciting cruise ship, and in true Emma Cruises style, I booked the cheapest cabin available on the entire ship. To find out how that was and to find out if me and my brother managed to go a full week in a tiny room together without falling out, check out this video next.